Here we are, live with Painting Happy Little Minis. My name is Leona.
And I'm Dave.
And we are here to paint, have a jolly time, and sing and dance. Even though right before the show I said no singing allowed. We are painting up... Is it upside down?
It's upside down.
It is. Bardsung by Steamforged Games.
Excellent.
We've been painting these miniatures since the beginning of April, thanks to Steamforged.
I thought for a second there you were going to say, since the beginning of time.
The beginning of time. It feels like it because April, I don't know, is flying by. And so last week we painted up some of the heroes.
Yep.
And then this week we're going to continue work on some foes. So I'm going to be painting up the Stalking Reaper. And Dave is going to be working on the Hunter, potentially. And yes, I am actually not plugging away at the cameras. We have a new tech person behind the scenes helping us. So everyone in the chat say hello to Riley, because Riley's back there working the camera. And Riley, could you put on the spinner shot, please, so that we can see what we painted last week. So I was painting up the Dawn... What is her name? Dawnweaver or something like that?
Dawnbreaker. Dawnguard.
Dawnguard.
She looks like Dawnbreaker because she's going to smash something with that mace.
Yeah, she's going to smash. And then Dave was painting up Lightweaver.
This is true.
Very cool. These are the heroes, and there are 3 other heroes.
Yep.
And we will continue work on those next week. And this is the Ferris Maw that Dave painted up from 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
A lovely, nasty foe that is nasty.
Yeah.
And green and stinking.
I had a lot of fun with that cat. But yes, and you can see with that sort of glossy finish on the base there for Lightweaver that I have just finished painting her black.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when I came in today, I was like, oh, these bases aren't black. Oh, because they weren't primed black, because you got them with the Zenithal prime. So, yeah, no, that totally works. Yep.
So during the show, I will paint Dawnguard's base black as well.
Oh, okay.
We'll get that happening.
You will? Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to be working on her next week. So we're making our way through Bardsung and all of the many miniatures that this board game has. So
many miniatures. In fact, it's not too bad. It's only 60, 70.
It is not.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it's around 70 miniatures.
But yeah.
Making our way through slowly. I've been enjoying these. So this is the image for the Stalking Reaper that I will be painting. This week, last time I laid down blues and silvers and like some brown edge highlighting, which we then determined that, I'm trying to figure out where the focal point is here. We then determined that I should just paint over some of the highlighting that I did with a base color. So I'm going to be mixing up a kind of base tan with Cavalry Brown and this Bone White to make kind of like a reddish tan. And I'm going to be adding that to some of the plate armor here, the shoulders and stuff like that. Because interestingly, on the art, it's like this multicolored guy. You can kind of see he has lots of different stuff.
Lots of things going on.
I'm going to go back in. He has some more blue and green, and so I'm going to brighten those up. So before I get carried away with painting, welcome, everyone. Welcome to Dave Hummel, JT. Noticing Dave's shirt, I got into Old Gods of Appalachia, and I'm loving it. Is that a TV show?
No, it's a podcast. I don't know if you remember I talked about it last.
You did.
I talked about it incessantly.
Yeah. I remember you talking about it. I just couldn't remember what like medium it was.
Yep.
And also hello to Ashlyn. Thanks for joining. And Dorky Dad. Hello. Welcome.
Excellent.
Gods of Appalachia.
So yes, so not only is it a podcast, and I think they've done 3 seasons so far, and a whole bunch of sort of things that weave all those seasons together, but there is currently a Kickstarter running by Monty Cook games.
Ooh, love Monty Cook.
So Monty Cook-
so they're going to do
they're doing an RPG.
Ooh,
An Old
now
Guns of
that's cool.
Appalachia RPG. So yeah, definitely cool. If you get the chance, check it out. And if you enjoy Old Guns of Appalachia, definitely check it out. They've got Steve Shell, who's the essentially the creator of Old Gods, doing the voiceover for the video, the Kickstarter video.
Okay, nice.
So that's good. He sort of presents a story,
Yeah.
and then it moves into like, okay, so you see this bright light coming towards you through the trees, so hovering towards you slowly through the trees.
Right.
What do you do? And the person goes, well, I make a perception check. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. There was a big build-up before it got to that point. But yeah, it was just
Okay.
rather, it was like, oh, cool,
It's
this is
normally
another
just
one of
like
his
a
stories.
storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. It's
podcast.
just a story. Yeah. And then, then it threw into the almost real-world aspect of role-playing.
Right.
It's like, But yeah, it does look good. It's going to be a huge book with a lot of sort of background information and details and that sort of thing. So
Oh yeah, JT said the same thing. They are currently having an RPG Kickstarter.
Yep.
Cool. Hello, Roger Moore. Good evening.
Hey, Roger.
So for those of you joining in chat, what have you guys been painting recently? Any projects you have been working on?
I have just recently finished up a Spartan assault tank for my Death Guard for the Horus Heresy.
Oh, nice.
So I think I mentioned it. I can't remember if I mentioned it last week.
I think you did.
Might have.
With your hunter, what are you planning on working on this episode?
So at the moment, I'm starting with his skin. Gonna get all of his flesh done.
Oh, okay.
And then he has lots of, he's got a bunch of clothing. So he's got like pants and a shirt, and he's got that cloak and shoulder pads and everything.
Right.
But almost every sort of spare square inch of his clothing or armor is covered in bones.
Oh, gosh.
Like the bones are strapped to it.
Gotcha, okay.
So he's got it sort of across his chest there and strapped around his greaves at the back there. So picking out those is going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Well, he's a
Little
hunter,
bit.
so he's got a great like corvid skull there.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You can't quite see it there, but yeah, once I paint that up, a great sort of raven skull. It looks very cool. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I think the base colors for the what do you call it, for his clothing aren't going to be as important as they might normally be on the mini, because they are covered in those bones.
Right.
So I think the key thing there would just be to do something fairly sort of simple and in the background.
Neutral.
Neutral. Neutral's a good way to put it. I think that'd be the way to go.
Oh, why did it do that? Huh. JT is still working on Bailu from Loot Studios. Not much painting this week. Work has been crazy. That's fair.
Here, yeah. Yep.
Nothing on the horizon just yet, says Roger Moore. Still too cold here to prime anything.
Ooh,
Sad day.
Sad. Yep. Sad face. It's gonna be nice and warm here on Saturday.
I was going to say, it's becoming good priming weather, actually, in our neck of the woods.
Yep. Of
Which
course,
will
that
be
means
very
that. So Sunday, I'm going to be painting my deck. Saturday, I'm going to be sanding and power washing my deck, and then
Okay.
sanding it. Staining it again, or putting oil back on
Gotcha. Yeah.
to protect it. It's
So
been
not
a while
a
since I've done that.
miniature.
Not a miniature, no.
Brontonaut says Mouse Slaying by Reaper.
Oh, cool.
And also Space Marines for a kill team. Nice. You're working on those like simultaneously.
Oh, wouldn't it be cool if they were like it was Mouselings in power
Mousling.
armor
Reaper. Yeah, well, yeah.
as a kill team?
It needs to be what they call kit bashed.
Yep.
How do you say? Kit bashed.
Sounds like a great mashup, as the kids say.
I think that's what they need to do for the next, like, big thing, is
Yeah.
have, like, the Animorphs version of
Of
Space
everything.
Marines. Specifically Space Marines.
Okay. Get some great Space Marines going. Excellent. That'd be good. Well, hopefully it'll warm up a little bit, or at least enough to prime comfortably for you soon, Roger.
As spring is coming.
Yeah.
Spring
Indeed.
is upon us. Yeah, it was raining earlier today.
It was.
The Mouselings are Space Marines.
Fantastic.
Wow, that's awesome. You will post pictures later. Okay, sounds good.
We look forward to seeing those.
Oh, Dave Hummel says, honestly, do I need to say what I'm painting this week?
I'm going to guess it is the Shadow Hawks. Dave's custom Space Marine chapter.
Okay. I knew it was Space Marines.
Let's see if I've guessed correctly. So this hunter is he's a big guy. He's very big. Here he is up against a dwarf. So you can see the sort of the size difference there.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So he's got this great, very characterful face in there and amongst the that hood.
So the face is actually well sculpted on the, like, pretty distinct on the miniature?
Yeah. Yep. The tough part, of course, is as you're sort of reaching in to paint the face, or at least pulling the your brush out. I'm going to end up, I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, there's a lot of little dots of
Oh, yeah, on the inner
the
side
skin
of his
color on the
hood.
inside of the hood. So
Yes.
it's basically going to be go in, paint all of the face first, and then I can come back to that hood, paint the hood separate after doing those first bits. The face has a little bit of the Grinch kind of thing going on. It's got like a tiny nose
Right.
and sort of very angry eyebrows. The slanting in eyebrows. So, and of course, I just noticed that my palette is underneath my picture of me there. There we go. Move it over there. So I'm working with a number of different Caucasian skin colors here. I've got the tan, dwarf skin, and light flesh up here. So just sort of working through those three.
Dave Hummel says, I guess I will be painting marine stuff until 2025.
But they'll keep bringing out new stuff, Dave. So I wouldn't want to limit yourself.
It might be longer.
Yeah.
Also, good evening, Jason. Thanks for joining.
Oh, hey, Jason.
Ashlyn says, my cat knows the days of the week and the time. He knows because 3 minutes before the show started and before I took out my gear, he came into the room and jumped up into my arms again. Oh. So you can't paint. That's okay. Ashlyn painted up a very cool miniature.
Do we get seated in the...
Yeah. The Stig Bernard.
The which?
So anyway, we'll see it later.
Okay.
I just showed. Did you see it just now?
I did see
yeah.
it. Yep. I did not recognize it. I must have missed it in the group. My apologies.
Yeah, it looks really good. But we'll show it during our miniature showcase. Yeah, so I'm adding some heavy blue back onto the like wire parts of the miniature. It's like the exposed wires underneath of his armor.
Okay.
I'm especially trying to add the brighter blue closer to his face, so it's kind of framing it a little bit.
Okay.
I did just add some on the leg, and then I realized like that was a bad idea, so I'll go back
Right.
and dull that down.
Yeah, that's always the fun part is looking at something and going, oh, I can put this color here or this color there. And then as long as if you go back and have a look at it and go, I've just taken the attention completely away from the face.
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny because I put it on the leg down here and was then like, oh, wow, that looks kind of good. I'll put it up by his face. Oh, I should have not started with putting it on his leg. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just add some black and make a little wash.
Yeah. Just something that'll desaturate any saturated colors. Or darken down.
Because I'm a little lazy and I don't feel like looking for a wash, so I'm just creating my own.
That's cool.
Wash.
It's funny that making your own is the sort of the easier option.
Yeah. What's interesting about the art is that it's very colorful.
Right.
I don't know if you can see, I have his card right here.
Yep.
He just has a lot of multicolored things going on. So.
But at the same time, it's not really bright, is it?
No.
And for me, I'm going away from the card art.
Oh, right, because there's all that OSL.
Yeah. Yep.
I really should have grabbed a brown.
So, yeah, I think if I wanted to do it in the style of the card art, it would have taken a little bit longer than sort of a week or two.
Okay.
Just because I don't do a lot of OSL, particularly not sort of full model OSL there. So object source lighting. But you can see that it looks like he's standing, he has a fire over here and is lit by moonlight.
Right.
Coming from this direction.
Yeah.
So you've got that blue-green is the backlighting, and
the red.
Yep, that
Yellow.
the yellow cast from the fire at the front. So, yep.
So none of that.
None of that. Throw that card away. Oh, I didn't.
Well, interestingly, if you had done that, then basically, like, you can even see it in the card, like, because it's all about the light, none of him is really any color. Like, it's all just about the contrast of the blue and the orange.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I kind of get to choose what colors I want to do.
Like, you would really heavily be pushing into that light feel.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Which on a tabletop would look cool, but would kind of only work for one scenario.
Yeah.
If you had them, like, that's much more of like a diorama, I feel like, approach that you would use.
Yeah, you'd have him up on a sort of up on a
in
rock
static
overlooking
place,
a campfire with the party gathered around it.
Yeah.
He's ready to take them out. And then he slips, and a rock tumbles down the hill, like cliffside.
No.
What's that?
It's the hunter.
So yeah, with this I can now I can sort of pick what colors I want to use and go with sort of natural greens and browns probably,
Okay.
and but try and keep the attention
On his face.
around the face there.
Yeah.
So I am going to throw in a little I'm going to use a little bit of Volupus Pink on his nose.
Apparently, Dorky Dad says my cat knows too and won't get out of the way of my screen. Yeah, I think cats just love being in the way.
They do indeed.
Like, my sister has a cat, and, like, every time I talk with her, the cat, like, knows and will aggressively meow while we're trying to chat together. And I'm like, your cat is really intense. And she's like, yeah, she was quiet, like, before we started.
Your cat's a bit of a jerk.
And Ashlyn said I was planning on doing an Invit Shock Trooper to go with Stig. But
Okay.
kitty cuddles.
Right.
Kitty cuddles are important.
Okay, so what I'm doing here, just to get a little bit more sort of intensity in the face there, is shading it a little bit with some of the Volupus Pink. So putting it around the nose.
Okay.
You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Here we bring it. But, and I'll put it a little along that bottom lip, which will do that intensity there as well. So, and then when I paint the teeth in, that'll really pick that up. So yeah, now I'll go back and paint to do the correction along that line of the hood. A couple other spots to correct. Usually, basically wherever the skin has met the clothing or the wraps around his arms, the bottom of the trousers, that kind of thing. Don't have to tidy it up now. I could come back and do it later, but one of the things that it does is it makes everything look nice and neat, and you feel that you're progressing, so it's not all
Gotcha.
a mess.
Yep.
Everything.
So that when you refer back to it later, you're like, oh, this is at a good place. It feels manageable because you kind of tidied up while you work.
I've been working. If I was working on like 4 or 5 of these at once, then I would just, to save time, I wouldn't go back and do that.
Okay.
Tidying up. I'd let, like here, where the flesh color has gone over onto the bow,
Right.
I'd come back and I'd paint the bow, whatever color I was going to paint the bow. But just be very careful when I got to that point.
Yeah.
And paint over that sort of skin color. And make sure, for that, you got to make sure you're using a quite an opaque color on that bow to tidy it up. But by doing it with, going back and doing it with black, there can be times when I can leave a little, like a thin line of black between the 2 colors to give me that extra shading
Ah.
That's smart.
and sort of definition on the model. So it's one of those things, you don't always have to do it, but there are benefits, and so there are benefits to it, but it just takes a little bit of extra time. There we go. Yeah, a little bit around his heels.
Sorry.
There we are. That'll do. So I think next up, I'm going to hit up. I don't even know what to go for next. So
Now that you've
parts-
done his skin?
Hmm?
Now that you've done this skin?
Yeah.
How does
He might
doing this?
go up around, work around the hood, and probably the top of his sleeves, which you can only really, you can see a little bit on there. So yeah, the hood and his shirt there. I'm going to do in a green. And I'm going to go with... These are the colours that I used for my the cloaks on my Gaunt's Ghost models.
Oh.
So have a bit of fun with these. I think on the Gaunt's Ghost cloaks, I took it up towards the Elysian green pretty heavily, but I'll keep that fairly subtle this time. It'll be mostly this desaturated Castellan green. We'll mess around with a little bit of texture on it. Ooh, that didn't sound good.
Sorry. I did not mean to yelp. I realized that there's actually a guy on the bottom of this. There's another
Oh,
dude here.
Like a victim.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I should paint him.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Which way are you going to go with it?
Yeah.
You don't have to paint him, or at least you don't have to do a lot of detailed painting for him.
Okay.
What you could do is either you can pick one of your colors. You could see that blue that you've got going on
Yeah.
there. If you add a little bit more black to that, or just work with a darker blue,
Okay.
and just pick out the highlights on that model down on the base, and then mix in maybe some like a lighter gray or a little bit of white into it.
Okay. I need to be remembering.
Actually, a
what
little
you're
bit of that the bone.
Right, the
would be
bone.
good, yeah.
The bone.
Yep.
Almost I realized my hand was covering it. But yeah, I've been kind of using that bone as my white.
Yep.
Or whatever I'm trying to lighten.
Yep.
That's my lightener.
I
Okay,
think,
cool.
So you've defined it. You said
Right.
there's this thing down there,
It's a thing.
but it's not important.
Right.
We know it's a body, and we know that he's killed it.
Yeah.
Who it was isn't important.
It's really not.
He's coming for you
The
next.
Stalking Reaper is coming
Yeah.
for you. Yeah. Coming for you. Okay.
So yeah, that's definitely
Thank you.
definitely a thing you can do.
Kind of give it some sort of life, but not focusing it too heavily.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole issue. Is I'm like, I don't want to really paint it, and then have you look at a different part of the model.
Right.
So
Of course, one thing you could do if you wanted to, not now because you've started this way with the sort of the bright part being at the top,
Right.
is you could flip it
oh,
and have the focus be the dead guy in the base,
yeah,
and then the Stalking Reaper ends up in shadow, so as he's further back.
that's a good one.
So that could be fun. But you've already gone down the other path.
Yeah.
That way lies madness. Yep. Just kidding.
Madness.
So he also has a bit of a tabard under there.
I think all of these guys have
Loincloth.
tabards.
Yeah. So I'm just going to paint that green as well. That way I can do his pants brown, and they'll sit there underneath the bones that he's got all over the place. The other thing I can do as well is, even though I've gone and painted his feet in the same sort of flesh color there, I can start to dirty those down, make them a little bit darker. So again, forcing the attention back up to the top here.
Why does it bring it back down? Okay. Forcing the attention back to the top,
Yep, back around his face.
back to the face.
It's kind of fun, sort of messing around with those ideas when you can. Generally, if you paint in like a Games Workshop style, Games Workshop sort of heavy metal style. It's every area of the model is treated similarly.
Right.
So the boots are the same. Like the Space Marine Power Armor, for example, which covers the entire body. The blue on the helmet will be the same as the blue on the boots. The same sort of tonal value.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though in most lighting conditions they'd appear different, or the boots would be darker generally. But yeah, when you're working outside of that style, you've got a lot more flexibility, I guess, or opportunity to create sort of exciting lighting situations.
That you can be like, ooh.
Yeah. And it's very important that as you're doing it, you say, ooh. That way you know you're doing it right. If you're excited by the way you're doing it. There we go.
Yeah, with lighting techniques, my question for people in the chat is, has anyone been trying any new painting techniques lately? I know sometimes people try and like work on different things while they're working on different models, and so I'd be interested to know.
Yep. There we go. There's a start. Move that down there. So yeah, and see on the screen there, this sort of olive drab kind of color looks very grey.
Yes.
So it's definitely sort of how desaturated it is. So kind of amazing.
To paint faster, says Dave Pummel.
Well,
there is
the
like
paint faster technique.
There is a technique on how to paint faster. You know, like as you were saying, like you become very mechanical in what you.
Yeah.
You kind of start to plan out exactly what you're going to do.
Yep. And you paint dozens and dozens of models that are all the same. You get your brush strokes in the right spot all the time.
Right. That's what I was trying to say.
That's the key. Repetition. So. But of course, the tough part is that repetition is boring and tedious. So sometimes it can be tough to build up the reps.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun to paint something a little bit different. Try it a different way.
No, that makes sense.
Keep looking up to see how it's looking on camera. But what I'm doing here is just mixed a little bit of the Elysian green in with the that Castellan green. So now I can just in here. Because these just sort of pushing the green in to those little gaps between the bones, sometimes I'm getting the green on the bones. But those bones are in an area where I won't go back and paint and to sort of touch it up with black before I then paint the bones. Mainly because there are so many of them. It'll be sort of definitely be easier for me to go through and just paint those up. I'm just going to, looks like I'm running out of moisture in the bottom of my tray.
Oh, do you need some?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Got some here.
Ashlyn said, trying to be more aware of highlights using 3 or 4 different lighter layers.
Okay. Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you're working with a few more layers, you can keep the difference between the layers smaller, so the transition appears smoother.
Right.
Still getting the hang of this. What do you call it?
Wet palette.
Wet palette. That's the one. Thank you. But I will say that it wasn't until today that I switched out the paper that I'd started using last week.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. Oh,
I don't think that's me.
no, that was me.
Okay.
My apologies.
Okay. Am I in focus? Where am I in focus?
The other way.
This is difficult.
Where is
I'm
your
trying to
sharp
figure
focus?
out where I'm in focus. I'm not in focus here.
Nope.
I am not in focus here.
There you go.
I'm
Right
in
there.
focus here. Right here. Okay.
Yep.
Then I'll just keep it down like that. Yeah, then you get really smooth transitions with the 3 or 4 different layers.
Yep.
And especially on smooth surfaces is probably a really nice effect.
Yeah.
Like surfaces that you're trying to paint to be smooth.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely sort of an important thing for creating that smooth look. Okay. I said I didn't want this hood to go too light too quickly, but it's getting there. So I'm going to need to step back on that for a minute, paint some of the other areas. Well, I've got my big brush out. Just get some basics there, and because these are areas here are lower on the model, and covered, they're going to be in shadow from the cloak. I will just hit them. I'm going to hit the bottom of that piece there with a highlight rather than highlighting at the top, because that top wouldn't see any light. Just work it up there, so that's going to catch the there we go, catch the light as we look at it. Something similar under here.
Ahoy, Josh. Thursday night is all right
Oh.
for painting. Yes.
It is much better for painting than for fighting.
Yes.
It's my understanding it's Friday night, right? Friday night it's all right for fight?
Fight.
Yeah.
Is that...
I think that's how the song goes.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were referencing the song. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay. The older folks like myself and Josh would recognize the song. Well, Josh
when
was
did
referencing the song, so
Oh, okay.
I couldn't even tell you what the name of the song is.
Can you sing part of it?
Hmm?
Can you hum part of it?
No,
Okay.
I'm not allowed to. Remember
Yeah,
you said
no singing.
no singing? Okay. Just got my finer brush. A bit more of that Elysian green. So what I'm doing now is rather than just working with straight Elysian green or just with a mix of Elysian and Castellan, I've got a mix there, and then I'm grabbing some ivory and mixing that in as well. So don't be afraid to mess around with that either, with like 3 or 4 paints in a mix to get something going. So what I'm going to do on the hood here, it's got 2 very distinct lines that run back up to the sort of the crown there at the top. Oops, sorry. The crown there at the top. So I'm just going to and paint some very light lines along there to give it a bit of texture. So it's going to look like sort of faded or worn cloth. I'm sure this guy has been wearing this this hood for years.
Yeah.
Years and years. out in the wilderness. Given the size of him, this might have been a somebody else's cloak, I think, that he's turned into a hood. And they can just run that similar sort of thing along the back there, along that fold. On the side here. And so I'm just putting it where I would normally highlight the model. I'll highlight that area. And just by using some of those faint thin lines, it looks like from sort of the 3-foot roll, it just looks like highlighting. But as you get closer, you see it's got that texture to it.
Oh, yeah, I do.
So it feels like you're creating that
That's nice.
fabric texture. Of course, the reason I'm mentioning this is I just finished up an article for Game Trade magazine today on this very thing. And as I was doing it, I also realized that like another great way to do like a fabric like wool, like a woolen jacket, not fuzzy woolen jacket, but like a suit jacket or something like that.
Right.
If you want to get some texture, you can do some stippling. So if you're to approach painting it, like just stipple like that, just sort of stab the, I think I might have actually used the word stabbing motion in air quotes. But yeah, so you can create a texture just by applying the paint like that with a brush. So think about that if you're doing something like a woolen suit or whatever, or a cloak, and you want to have that kind of have a texture to it. You could do it with a cross-hatching kind of look like this, or with a stippling kind of look. But again, you just use that instead of the. So you can see on the. Oh, I'll turn it up like that. Now you can see on the tabard there. I'm actually just highlighting this in a normal. I say normal or standard fashion. So I'm following the lines of the tabard there.
I want to see this guy on the spinner.
On the spinner.
So
Check them out. Okie dokie. I'm going to move those off the spinner. How's it looking? Cool.
okay.
Yep. Looking good there.
So yes, this is my guy so far. Yes, you can see kind of my brush strokes a little bit more.
That's fine.
Can we get a better focus on that at all, or is that as good as it's gonna get?
As he comes closer. You get the
It's okay.
focus.
Yeah, I know you're trying, but anyway, so you see how there's like green a little bit on his thing, and then I did try and paint the guy below in blue.
Yep. Oh, had it there for a
There we
second.
go.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, that's as good as it's going to be, which is totally fine. Yeah, and so then he has these like tan pieces of his that weren't silvery, actually.
Like the armor. Yep.
Yeah, so I
That's
just
looking
wanted
good.
to see it, on the spinner, because I was having a little trouble. And I'm not really planning on touching up his feet any more than what they
Sure.
are, because basically it's a layer of silver,
Yep.
and with like a dirty brown wash over top.
Yep.
So then I'm kind of trying to highlight around his face.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I'd be tempted maybe for the lower legs and feet to give it another layer of that wash.
Oh, okay. Go darker
Yep.
with the wash. Okay,
Yep.
cool. And then you can see his tabard. I've really brightened that green probably too much. It's
It's
looking a little St. Patty's.
it's a pretty it's pretty severe. Yeah, there's a little bit of mint. There's a mint feeling to it.
Yeah, I think that was coming from the bone that I mixed.
Okay,
and maybe
mixed
some
it-
of the
mixed it in.
blue accidentally was still in my brush.
Right.
So with him, I think I should just need to go back and paint it a green, like
Right.
just another
Well,
green color.
this is one of those things when we were talking about those number of different layers.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So a layer in between those two.
Would be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you take your
So you
your
don't
mix.
mind the mint highlight, like for the highlight?
I don't mind it,
Okay.
but give me a second. Sorry, I don't mind it, but it's just at the moment it's just a bit stark against the darker green.
Okay. Right. Yes.
So yeah.
It is. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
And so you can do a layer in between or color in between, and then one that's a little bit lighter, a bit higher, and then over all of that put a glaze of the green again,
Oh, okay. Another glaze on
which
top.
will just knock it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But you've got to have that higher highlight for when you knock it back.
Right. So that it's still up there.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that works. And how about the guy on the
goodness.
bottom? Do I need to like add any more color to him, or does he look pretty good?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Yep. I
cool.
just tidy up the black around him.
Okay, yeah,
It'll
awesome.
be all good. Yep.
Sweet.
Super cool. Oh, and while we got the spinner up, I'm just gonna pop him on.
Oh yeah, nice.
So yeah, see that
I
face?
can see the face now. Yeah.
So it just comes around. I think was it the first week I did that dry brush.
You did, yeah,
Mhm.
for the back.
So
Yeah.
yep. But yeah, as it comes back around, I think you start to see that texture.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, I really like that green that you're using. It's really nice.
yeah, it's pretty neat. So I think I might. I'm gonna go back and do some more. Basically, add in a little bit more ivory into that. The highlighting on the around the hood.
On the hood, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it in anywhere else, but just keep it up on the hood there. So I will steal it back now.
Okay, cool.
Yoink.
Also, hello to What Type of Dog Is This? Putting a smiley face in the chat. And Josh said, I like that the opponent is outside of the spotlight and monochromatic. Yes, that was mine. That was
Yep.
a choice that we had made. We talked about earlier in the episode that
Yep.
that would be a good way to,
Separate them.
make him different. And also easy. And not the focus.
Not the focus of the model, yeah.
And it kind of gives more like spookiness to the character.
Yep. It's basically it's making sure that model is part of the base.
Right,
Part of the basing.
right.
So
And Sammy says, absolutely beautiful contrast between the cape and shoulder armor on that one. Oh. That one was yours, right? The cape and the shoulder armor.
possibly. I don't know.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, we're working slowly but surely on these little models, so I have to remember all the tips that Dave told me. I should have had like a paper and pen over here so I
notes.
can remember.
Well, that's the great thing about it. The episode, I think, it's on the internet now.
Yes,
it's on the
it's
internet
true.
forever.
For those of you who had just joined in chat, we are painting up, as you can see on the screen, some Bardsung. And these are specifically Bardsung foes. So these are the characters that you and your party will be defeating throughout the game.
Wow, pretty presumptuous of you there.
Or,
Being slain
falling, falling, yes. Being slain by, potentially.
Maybe.
And we had been working on the heroes last week, and actually this is my second week on
the Stalking Reaver, I had kind of laid down some basic silvery colors at first, which I'm now kind of bringing back some color into. So,
And Dave, you painted the Ferris Maw
I did.
for your first foe.
Yep. That's where is it? There it is. Had a lot of fun with pushing the. This is one where I tried to mimic the art card. So pushing a lot of those interesting like colors in there, a little bit of purple, greens, into the browns.
yeah, I really like that like blue scaling at the end
Yeah,
towards the bottom of the mini.
It's very successful.
worked well. Okay, so I'm going to get out a brown here. It's going to be a base color brown. Can anybody pick it? Do you know what it is?
Charred brown?
Shh. Don't give it away. So
Yes,
just-
lucky winner. If you're able to guess what brown Dave is using, you're a lucky winner.
We know.
Let me not put my head over
There we
that
go.
yet.
Josh, you got it. Don't know how. I so infrequently use it. And by infrequently, I mean all the time. What I'm going to do here is into the highlight is mix a little bit of burnt red. So, just because the red should be interesting against the.
To kind of add some warmth to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly cold. Certainly, the flesh is quite warm. But just to sort of throw some green up against that. Some red up against the green, but not in a sort of garish way, because he's a hunter and he's working with a lot of those more natural colors. But mainly, I wanted to try it because my typical approach for these wraps would have been charred brown, beige brown, mix in a little bit of ivory.
Gotcha.
So instead, I'm going to switch out that beige brown for some burnt red. And get that.
Josh says
It's a
there's
little bit
always time
different
for
from-
charred brown, coal black, and Prussian blue, and sometimes sand yellow.
Yeah.
What did you guys
Indeed.
think of the new Batman? Did you happen to see the new Batman?
I have not seen the Batman yet.
Oh.
I have heard many, many things about it. A lot of my friends have seen it and passed judgment on it. And I got to say, I don't think I can remember anybody saying anything particularly negative about it.
Yeah, I saw it, like, I guess it was the second weekend it came out. It was kind of random that I
Right.
saw it. It was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go see Batman. Wow, I didn't expect to see this movie in theaters.
Right.
But I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Like,
Cool.
it was just a good, I enjoy Batman's story. It was very grungy and gritty. It was kind of like, yeah, this works for a Batman movie. Like, it was a little bit
Excellent.
over the top of like emo Batman, but I was there and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
One of the things
It was a little long. That was my biggest critique. Is it was a little long.
Okay.
There was a moment where I was like, there's this car chasing scene.
Yep.
And Riley, did you see the Batman movie? Okay. There's this car chasing scene, and there was a moment where I was like, did this director watch Ford versus Ferrari and think, I need to put this in my movie?
I can have more of this.
Because there was this like sequence of like, it felt like they really just wanted you to like enjoy the fact that Batman was driving this like old but souped up car.
Right.
And I know, but actually that's not when he was driving his old car. That was when he was just driving this like mega tank car, and
Right.
but it was good. Like I didn't mind that it was long.
Right.
That's
Okay.
like my biggest critique, which is not a harsh critique.
But
I
it's
think.
basically you're telling me to prepare myself for
Yeah, it was
lengthy-
a decent sized film.
So if I'm watching
It was
at
not a
home-
Marvel movie. I think I was kind of programmed to be like, oh, Marvel movies, you know, they wrap up in like 2 hours.
Right.
And this movie was like 2 hours, 45 minutes.
Yeah. I actually I think I did. Somebody did mention that, and it was like, okay, that's going to be like a week of evenings falling asleep on the couch. What was the last thing I remember? Fast forward through to that point, start again. So that's the way that's probably going to work for me. But-
And as Josh says, Batman as a detective, as he should be. I'm a sucker for anything that's like slightly a detective story, and that movie was not a detective story, but was like slightly a detective story.
Right,
So
okay.
it was great.
Excellent.
And Batman being a detective, I was like, we need more of this.
How did you feel about Death on the Nile?
Oh, I
'Cause
enjoyed
that
Death on
was
the Nile.
slightly a detective movie.
Yeah. Well, that was
it wasn't a
more-
particularly like.
The-
I didn't feel it was like an overtly detective movie.
Well, yeah, it
though
wasn't
it's
a
supposed to be,
detective.
but
Yeah, it was
yeah.
supposed to be more of a detective movie, but I like Agatha Christie's stories, so I
Right.
thought they did a good job. I enjoyed that movie for what that was. But again, make it slightly a mystery, and I'm down. So
Cool. That's good.
I'm there.
I'm excited. I for the longest time I've always said it's like, why does every time that like Batman or Spider-Man get rebooted, it's like we're gonna have the origin story.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have his parents shot outside the theater. Gonna get the radioactive spider biting him. So it was nice to hear that this is like set like 2 years after.
Yeah, and in that way, like, that was actually something, I don't usually, like, read articles beforehand, but I actually did for the Batman movie, and that was something that they noted. They were like, it's nice that they just kind of, like, you know it happens, and it's fine.
Right.
And I do agree, that was enjoyable.
Yep. We know she gets shot,
Yeah,
and the string of pearls breaks.
and he died,
That's
and
all
it's
over the
really
street.
depressing, and he's traumatized
Yep.
for the rest of his days. No, yeah, it was a good time. Also, hello to Some Key. Thanks
Cool.
for resubbing. Roger Moore says, so Dave, I finally got around to getting a group shot of all the monumental minis.
Oh, awesome!
Ah.
Very cool. Yay! Posting shortly.
Life got busy, you know how it goes. Yep, it does get
Definitely
busy.
do.
Ashlyn says they need a speed chase to sell the toy cars. You're not wrong.
Yep. It sounds like Ashland's going to buy the.
Yeah.
The toy cars.
Oh yeah, you should, or you should paint a toy car like the Batman one. That would be cool. Oh hi Betsy, just popping in while you're camping. Yes, I saw that you were
Oh, camping.
camping with friends.
Cool.
Hopefully you have a lovely time.
So he says, sounds like it completed a monumental task.
And
Welcome back.
we're back.
And Josh says, picking up little minis and s'mores. Could life get any better?
I really want to go camping this summer. Yeah.
Yep.
For those of you who are watching, did anyone also see the Batman movie? And thoughts? Josh said he liked it. I didn't see Sammy's response. If Sammy had enjoyed it as well. Nope. Well, oh well.
Okay, just while we're waiting for those responses, one of the things that I've done here.
Oh, they are. Their friends are here. No more empty chairs. That's good.
Oh. Excellent.
Nice. All right. So, Dave, tell us what you're doing.
So what I've done, I mixed in some of the burnt red into some charred brown.
Okay.
There's a lot of fire action going on, obviously. So that's the top part of the highlights there. And because I wanted to keep these, keep them fairly dark and desaturated against that, I didn't want to make them too bright against the bright skin. I'm just mixing for the I'm just doing a final sort of edge highlight on each of those bands, I guess, or
Gotcha.
the wraps.
And then kind of call it a day.
Yeah. So I've just got taken from that charred brown and burnt red mix there, mixing in some ivory to give that sort of a very desaturated, pale burgundy kind of color, and then just hitting the edges of those wraps for the highlight. So, and not taking it all the way around each of those edges, letting it sort of trail off as it goes into shadow.
Okay, nice.
And what you can do there as well then is if you want to accentuate an area, so at the top of his what do you call it, forearm,
Right.
there you can mix in a little bit more ivory and come back and
And then just
just hit that.
right at the top.
Yep. And then maybe take a little bit of it onto the wrap there.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
So it starts to accentuate that.
Feel like wrapping cloth or leather or whatever it is.
Yep. Okay.
Very nice. Somkey says, I just saw the Morbius movie, had the entire theater to myself. Womp womp. And then Ashlyn says, been rewatching the Cannonball movies because Dave mentioned them last week. Or the Cannonball movies, yeah. Nice.
Did I mention them?
You must
Like
have.
Cannonball Run?
Yeah, you must have. I don't particularly remember, but you must have.
Maybe I did.
And
Excellent,
it is
okay.
now time for us to go to our miniature showcase.
Oh, was it Dave? Or did Dave Hummel mention them?
Oh, Dave Hummel maybe mentioned them.
Maybe I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
It was only last week.
It was.
Such a long time ago.
Which was a long time ago. It was years ago.
Yep.
So are you ready to look at some miniatures from our Facebook group?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Here we go.
Yes.
Cha, 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 cha.
That's really, I should pop him back on there.
In passing about talking scale cars, where are we? Here we are. It's okay.
We're back.
Black screen for a little while. It was just funny because
good.
I was like talking and then I'm like, wait, I'm not there. I cannot confirm or deny the speculation on said subject. Nice.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to look at some miniatures from our Facebook group. These were ones that people posted and had been working on this week. So first up, we have Ashlyn, who was working on Stig Bernard in ride armor from Mep Toys Resin Print.
There we go. We're going to need to work on making those a little bit bigger.
Oh, her picture specifically?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, wait. We're going to talk about it a little longer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Riley. No, we talk about them for about, probably about a minute a piece.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
I
bit
know.
longer.
So I need to figure out how to make hers bigger. But
Yep. We'll work on that. We'll work on that, Ashlyn. But no, looking very cool here. I
also,
love that.
hi, Lava Painter. Thanks for joining.
Oh, hey, Lava Painter. So yeah, speaking of mint green.
Yeah.
This is probably like a little bit paler than mint green, but yeah, looking really good. It's a very cool, obviously cool temperature-wise, but also cool color.
So I really
Yeah,
like the work that Ashlyn's done on the gun pistol
Right.
part.
Yep. Oh, the sort of the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Yep, firing those shells out there. Yeah, that looks very cool. Very nice cinematic effect.
Yep.
But yeah, very cool. Looking great, Ashlyn. I like your color choices there. Oh, Ayumi says, no painting this week, but I did do some interesting crafting. So there's, I'm guessing these are 3D printed in translucent resin. Is that
Nice.
right, Ayumi?
I think
Let
so.
us know.
Yep.
But yeah, looking very cool. I think.
And then Ayumi also posted a picture, which I didn't grab, but of work on the wings.
Okay. Yep. to get all the texture,
Mm-hmm.
the very cool texture look. Yeah, resin cast. Okay. Yeah, after my working on my Death Guard army last year, that I based around flies and had that sort of fly
Right.
carapace look.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to see other flies. But yeah, these are looking very cool. I'm excited to see what you do painting-wise with these, because I'm sure you have a plan for something wild. But of course, I'm also reminded of the fly
Right.
and Brundlefly. Oh, no 3D printer, yes. Just a resin cast. Looking good, Amy. Very cool. Carl, nice work here on this this gin. Or genie. But yeah, looking very cool coming out of that awesome lamp.
I like the desaturated skin.
Yep.
Like the gray on the skin.
Yeah. There's a bit of a sandy sort of tone to it as well.
Mhm.
It's got that so sort of the desert kind of feel. But yeah, that great that gold is wonderful. I love it, and you've really picked out all that detail around the belt and the shoulder wonderfully.
So if you were highlighting, bless you, goes
Sorry.
in tight. If you were highlighting
Allergies.
gold,
Yep.
you
Right.
wouldn't be adding white, no?
No, you wouldn't. You don't add white. You add like a brightest silver.
Oh,
That
okay.
you can. So
Okay.
I typically use shining silver from
Yeah, I have.
the Army Painter.
Okay, like I just have silver. Would
Yeah.
that work, or would you want
You,
shining?
you could use that,
it's
but
brighter.
shining silver is the sort of the brightest of the three. So there's gunmetal, plate mail metal,
Gotcha.
and
okay.
shining silver. The brightest one that I found is the aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you're from, in the Vallejo range, Vallejo model color range. That's the brightest that I've found.
Right.
But yeah, you mix that into your gold. I think like the GW painters, they'll generally suggest that final highlight be a straight silver. So you could certainly do that. But yeah, so you can get a lot of depth, obviously, in the gold there, as you can see that Carl's got there.
Yeah.
So starting with a black or a brown, and then highlighting up by mixing in your gold into that, or starting with the gold and hitting it with a couple of washes to knock it back
Cool.
really dark. And you can get it with the great contrast that Carl's got here as well, is not just in the tone, going from that bright silver through to the black, but in the finish kind of look. You've got that shiny speckly gold down to the matte shade under there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to figure out. Yeah.
Yep.
I
It's got
do.
double contrast.
It
going
looks
on.
great.
2 for the price of 1.
Very good.
Nice work, Carl.
Next, we have Chris Gorka.
Another limited edition Luke Skywalker. You thought it was French Luke Skywalker, didn't you? Le Luke.
Le Luc.
Le Luke. But yes, limited edition Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I that's why I was like, I don't know what LE stands for.
Initially, I looked at it and was like, what is L? Oh, limited edition.
It's Le Luc.
Le Luke. But no, again, another cool job from Chris here. Got that great orange flight suit.
Does he ever
Yeah.
wear this outfit in the movies?
Yeah. So
In the beginning, in not Force Awakens, in New Hope, right? That's when he's in a fighter.
he's wearing it. When he's he wears it when he's flying his X-wing. Yeah, flying the X-wing when he's
Okay.
Red 5, I think.
Gotcha.
Is
Okay.
it Red 5?
Cool.
Let me know.
Yep,
in the chat.
it's Red 5.
Yeah, so he's wears it then.
Cool.
And I think he might even be wearing it in the X-wing that he flies to Dagobah.
Oh, yeah,
The
I know.
Empire.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
Pretty
does
sure.
he go to one in Dagobah? It's just the pilot wardrobe. Yeah, I guess in the movie it's always a lot darker, like so it doesn't feel as orange to me.
Yep.
But anyway, sorry.
All good. But yeah, great work again, Chris. Nice one.
Daniel, with
Daniel.
this variety of like demon lords,
Yep.
which I assume for D&D because of the D20.
Yes,
front.
going to be guessing that as well. But yeah, they're almost are they demon. They do have that obviously demonic thing going on. The standing upright, the horned heads, that kind of thing. But with the coloration,
They almost look like dragons.
there's like a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they're more like some sort of dragonborn
Right. Okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like when you ascend to the highest level of dragonborn, your wings sprout and all that sort of thing. I don't know, but they are looking cool. Very nice.
And I feel it work well as a set together, whether that's like they go through the dungeon and they meet each of them along the way, or
Yeah, you got to
yeah,
each one more powerful than the last.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And by the time you get to the last one, you're like, oh god damn it,
Another one.
another one,
But they look
enough
great.
already.
And I actually think they look very well together. Probably because the models are similar, but
Yeah, they got that the very similar feel, the texture on the legs and that sort of thing. But yeah, looking great, Daniel. Nice work. Oh, Dave was painting up some Tartarus Terminators. Very Shadowhawks here. So I think last week we talked about different patterns of Terminator armor.
we did. Yes.
We talked about cataphracti armor, and so yeah, this is Tartarus armor, which is a little bit lighter and so more. It's easier to move around in. Oh, there you go. Brontonaut says these are Tiamat's servants in the abyss.
Okay, cool.
So, now we know. Thank you. But yeah, again, explains the different coloring.
Yep.
But yeah, so this squad here of lightning claws. Oh, James is here. Hi, James. Pardon me. Yep, the squad of Tartarus pattern Terminators, all with lightning claws, would be very fearsome. These would mow down big hordes of troops.
They look like Wolverine with their
Schnickety schnick.
claws.
Yep.
Yeah. Shing shing.
Yep, very definitely. So each of those has a monomolecular edge. So it's one molecule wide
Slices.
and electrified. So
Oh.
that it would just pass through
So
you
it
like a knife through
slices
butter.
and
Yep.
and burns
And
or
burns,
whatever.
yep. And yeah, you don't end up with any blood on those because it just burns
It
off.
burns it away.
Yeah.
Very
There we go.
sanitary.
Yep. Exactly.
Great for surgery.
But yeah, no, these are looking good, Dave. We're gonna have to see them based up soon. Day is painted up. Where is this model from? I wonder
This
if-
is the model that he had. This was a picture that had multiple models in it, and I
Okay.
cropped it to this model because he had been saying that this is the one that he had
This is the
recently
focus,
painted.
right? I wonder if it's a Malifaux model. No, James, you haven't missed Gretchen. Gretchen will be here next week for her
Yes.
final episode
Yes,
before she heads off to become a mother.
a mooter.
But yeah, so I'm guessing this might be from Malifaux. But yeah, looking very cool. I think the anytime you've got that sort of deranged what do you call it? Straitjacket kind of look.
Yeah,
Is neat, and there's lots of folds in this, lots of great texture on there that Dave's been able to bring it out. But yeah, looking very cool. And I do like that there's still that, even though they've gone for the darker kind of fabric look for the
actual cloth.
cloth.
Yeah.
It's got a great, still has a great contrast against the skin color. So
It's true. Yeah, they went
Excellent
more
choice there.
brown instead of pink.
yeah, and a very cool Stormcast Eternal in the background.
Yeah.
Right there. But yeah, nice work, Day. Looks great. Josh has been painting up Reaper Miniatures Human Fighter, Elise. Now,
Oh, I really like the work on the sword.
yep. So I do have to ask: is Elise the name that Reaper gave it, or did you give it that name, Josh? You'll have to let us know. But yeah, the sword is very cool. Excellent work there. That it's a great fade, and
It's
yeah, it
magical
really has
sword.
that magical feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Reaper name.
Reaper name. Mm,
Nice.
very cool. I think that
She's a very
sort of
clean fighter.
very clean. This may be her first adventure.
Yeah.
Well, his first adventure with this armor, perhaps,
Right.
because this armor doesn't look like it was cheap.
Right. True.
It's definitely to get fully articulated plate mail like that,
Yeah.
and then have it enameled in white. You have to have come across a few coppers to be able to pay that.
Well, you know those paladins. It's true. They
You
come
do.
from very wealthy families, or have found lots of treasure.
Lots of treasure. Yeah. From slaying all those evil things.
Yeah.
Evildoers.
Look at these evil dragons and all their hordes.
Yeah.
Convenient for my armor.
Purchase of armor. But no, looking great, Josh. Nice work.
Yeah, I really like it.
Oh my goodness, this is the bale that JT was talking about before. So this is from Loot Studios. This is
A mammoth folk wizard.
mammoth folk. Just when you thought things couldn't get any bigger, mammoth folk. Where you're dragonborn now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yep. But no, looking
They're like giants.
yep, looking very good there, JT. I think I'm loving the basically the flesh to fur
Yep, I
blend.
was going to talk about that. Yep.
That you've got going on there. We can see it there around the feet, and I think that around the.
It's done around the hands,
I'm
too.
I'd like to see a photo of the side of that where that raised hand comes down
Oh,
to the fur
to see
there.
where, like, if
So
it
around
stops
there.
up on the palm or
Just
down
to
by
check
the
on,
wrist.
just to check in on JT and make sure he's doing it all really well. But no, looking very cool. I think
It's a good way to tie in those human hands, because they're kind of a little out of place since it's a mammoth, you know. Anyway, I think that's a wise
You
choice.
mean mammoths didn't have human hands on their front? They didn't just like go
Wah!
there, and then they mammoths evolved into like
And
the
then
great
they're
apes.
like, yeah,
I'm pretty sure that
it was mammoth, ape, and
Let's
then
ask-
man.
we'll ask Gretchen about it next week.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Our zoologists
Yep.
will be here.
But no, looking very cool.
Anyway, I think that's a wise choice to do that.
Excellent. Yeah, that'd be great, JT. I look forward to that. And then I'm guessing, is that like armor, like a articulated armor down the front of his trunk,
Yeah, it looks like it, or
Yeah.
some sort of
or like a bone?
piercings.
Sort of things. Yeah.
Looks
very
really
cool.
good.
But yeah, nice one. Great work, JT. I think we also, just quickly, it's going to be tough to get that guy down into dungeons. Good for adventuring in the savannah. But
Was he a wizard or whatever? Like, is that what we said?
yeah, shaman, yeah.
Yeah, if he's a shaman, then he can like do a magic spell and make himself smaller.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say like part stone.
Oh, no.
Like the ceilings of everything gets bigger.
That would be one way to do it too.
would be one way.
He can like change space around him that'll always fit.
Excellent.
We have Juan with some
One
44 scale 100. This is a scale thing. It should have a slash in it.
144th scale buildings. So these are probably closer to 10 millimeter.
Oh,
scale.
okay.
So like a third the size of buildings you'd see for 40K. But yeah, really beautiful work here, Juan, on those buildings.
Yeah.
Those windows look great. Everything looks so the concrete texture, the weathering, the damage. Yeah, absolutely perfect for that Gundam work.
And in the background, you can see on the one that's just blue and gray that like there was a fire there,
Right.
and so
Yep.
I like some of that fire,
Love
like scorching.
The smoke effect coming up out of the side there.
Yeah.
Definitely cool.
It's degraded, but like obviously there was a fire.
Yeah.
So I think that was a cool choice.
And one thing you can see in the background behind the buildings is the AK product, the concrete.
Oh right,
So
yeah.
it's concrete paste there. So I think you can take that and depending on how textured you want it or that sort of thing, because at this scale you want a very fine sort of texture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one would have gone through and thinned it down a little bit, and then used a fairly large soft brush to apply
Oh,
the texture.
gotcha.
Some stippling on that concrete building. But yep, excellent work, Juan. Looks great.
Yeah, that looks really good. Is that the last mini, or is there one more? Couple? Oh, there's several more.
Several more.
Awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, this is another one where this is like what Christopher has been working on. Obviously,
Okay.
This is just kind of like a group of minis, and they're all hands.
Yeah. Well, these are spell effects.
Yeah.
So there's is it Bigsby's grasping hand,
Yeah,
Bigsby's floating fist.
or something like that.
I'm not sure about the red one there. I don't think we have a name for that. But moving right along, actually Bigsby's open palm for the blue one. But yeah, I think they are. And we've got that. There's that green Scanlan's taunt. Yes. Boom 5. But yeah, I think that green paint on the right there. I'm wondering if Christopher used sort of thinned that down for the for a wash over the green hand.
Oh,
Possibly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
not sure, but yeah, looking good. Lots of fun. Obviously, when you can throw some spell effects in a new game, you just imagine that bright yellow fist flying down a corridor towards you, or towards
That's
your
when
enemy.
you're wishing you had your mammoth shaman with you.
Oh yeah, step him up front.
Yep.
Take that fist. Yep, for sure. But no, looking great, Christopher. Very cool. Oh, Michael found a couple of broken blisters of Warhammer High Elf White Lions. Very cool. I think Sean painted up some White Lions recently. Sean Gleason, but he might have done the plastic ones. But yeah, these are older ones. These are from
okay.
the early 90s, early mid 90s.
Square base.
Square base metal models. But yeah, very cool. I think that so the White Lions of Trace, he'll have a like a white lion cloak kind of thing.
Oh.
So that's what you see sort of coming off to the side on the right
that
hand.
he's wearing.
Our right hand side.
Yep.
And there's a big paw over there, over the shoulder. But yeah, looking good. Yeah, these guys rock the double-handed axes. And in Warhammer, normally, double-handed axes would fight last because they're two-handed, they're unwieldy.
Gotcha.
But in the hands of an elf,
Oh.
strike whenever they please.
Nice.
But yeah, very cool, Michael. Glad you're able to slap some paint on those guys. Nice. Oh, speaking of older models, this is I think from 2000,
Okay.
from 6th edition.
Question mark?
6th edition, I think, of Warhammer.
Okay.
So this is a I can't remember the name of the orc character, but yep, Dave's the 6th, I think.
There's a lot going on this mini. Like, he has a lot of little parts.
Oh yeah, yep. Loads. See those lovely little buckles
Yeah.
for like strapping his armor on.
And I'm
which is
just
great.
impressed Michael's gotten all of them, so that was
Yeah, he's done a great
excellent
job
work
there. There's a point where I wouldn't be that. I wouldn't do all of them. I might have painted them black and then
Right.
forgotten to go back and get them, or I
Right,
might
yeah.
just hit the top corners. But yeah, no, definitely done a great job there. Oh, I almost had it. The name sort of lent to the front of my brain and then disappeared again.
It's not the one that Josh put in?
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Josh.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I didn't see that come up on the screen. Grimgore Ironhide. And Dave said, Grimgore Ironhide. Thank you very much. It's not the name that came forward in my head.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm glad you guys got it right. Excellent. Nice work, Michael. Oh, Mike Chapman. Painted Marathi. So that's another Warhammer model. This model is huge.
And look at the wings. I love the wings.
Yep.
I don't know why it's-
Yeah, I think Mike's done an excellent job with the sort of the highlighting on those. I have a feeling that that there's a little bit of a sort of pearlescence.
Oh,
Totally.
okay, yeah.
So they're picking up on the lights in Mike's room there a little bit more.
Yeah, that can work.
But yeah, looking very cool. I love that you've got that sort of the deeper burgundy kind of feel for the scales and the membranes on the wings, and then that bright red for her dress.
Right.
It's looking very cool.
A very deadly, like, nature when you see things in that color.
Yeah.
In nature, it
Like
usually means deadly.
The bright
so,
red. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stay
I think
clear.
that's a good choice.
Yep, definitely. No, excellent work, Mike. Nice one. Ooh.
Ryan with a sequitur for a take and paint competition. Ooh.
Very cool. Yeah, take and paint or paint and take?
Paint and take.
Yeah, but it says take and paint. Oh, so do you take it along, take the model you want to paint along to a competition and then you sit there and paint it?
Oh, maybe.
Or do you paint a model that you're given and then you take it home with you?
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering if they were all given a model.
Yeah.
So I really like the subtle difference between the blues, like the turquoise and
Right. Yep.
the royal blue.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely
It's
cool.
really nice.
Because both of those, both of those are similar tonally as well.
Yeah.
So the focus is the red. The red is the
Right.
key.
Yep.
And the blue and the turquoise work as neutral colors almost around it. But yeah, definitely some great choices and nicely done. I think I like the blending on the red and the blue.
And I always want to make my cloth look like that, like how his leg is stepping out.
Yep.
Like that's the goal.
Right.
I don't think I achieved that, but it looks awesome.
It does look very cool.
Great work.
Yep. And I also love that the flock and the stones that he's using on the base
Oh, nice.
are
Yeah.
sort of that lighter and brighter than sort of a bit more. Certainly, the green is a bit more saturated than the blue and the turquoise. So, yep, great contrast there as well, Ryan.
That's
Nice one.
true. Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, Seth, work in progress on a new bust. Reconnect from CA Sculpts. Very cool. I actually hadn't seen this this bust at all before until a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
One of the artists that I've been working with for the next lot of
for the art of.
for the art of books, Saini Da, has painted up this bust.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I think Seth did a great job on the last bust that he worked on. We got to see quite a lot of work in progress shots of that.
yes.
So yeah, this one's going to be
I'm excited to
very
see what he
interesting.
does for the coloring on the
yep.
scales almost, or whatever, those pixelated parts.
Yep.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of
Transparency, I think you could.
you had a lot of transparency options
Yeah.
or transition options. kind
Yeah,
of thing,
yeah, exactly. That you could kind of do there.
You can almost have like a bright sort of Iron Man kind of blue
Right.
kind of look in there, and yeah, to see how that could fade with the flesh around.
Yeah,
it.
I'd be interested to see if you're going to make it look like a transition into the skin or just like the light. Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be, there's as you said, there's kind of multiple ways you could go about it.
Loads of different ways.
So
So yeah,
yes.
it's going to be very exciting to see this
Looking forward to it.
come along. Nice work, Seth. Oh, Stevens painted up Free Folk Raiders for A Song of Ice and Fire.
They look really good.
They do look cool. I think the tendency, because they wear a lot of leathers, the tendency is to sort of to go for a lot of browns. But Stevens really sort of hooked into that
For
More that-
gray fur.
the grey kind of look. Oh, I think in the TV show, it felt like they were wearing leathers. The fur was on the inside, but they'd painted. To me, it felt like they'd painted the the exterior of the fur, like with greys and whites.
Right.
So they match, sort of blend in with the rocks and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think Steven's done a great job with matching that. I think that most of the guys that I've painted, like most of these models that I've painted, I've gone with browns.
They're a bit darker. Yeah.
So it's really nice to see these choices. But no, they look very cool. Nice one, Steve.
Yeah, good job. Susan Klein Pierce. This is their 4th figure they've ever painted.
Very cool. And a very there's a lot going on in this miniature for your fourth miniature, Susan. So yeah, very cool sort of choice and brave way to do it. So
Bold color choices.
yeah, looking good. Now I think the purple and the grey skin tone is always sort of fun to work with. And you've worked it very subtly. You haven't gone for very strong
Right.
differences there. So the work on her abdomen there, and then down the thigh, everything's looking very subtle,
Yeah.
which is nice. It's very cool stuff. And of course the horns and the red wings are those sort of classic sort of demon kind of looks. So yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's the
Josh
last
says.
one.
So yeah, very nice there. So yeah, Josh said making some technical progress. I see some skin blending. Yeah, definitely looking
Nice.
good there from Susan. And just quickly, Roger says, "Night, folks. Off to an online board game night." Bye, Roger.
Have fun playing your board game. Is it the space one that we talked about last week?
Oh.
The Space Frontier.
He said
With-
it's an online one, so
Oh.
it may not be the one that for the ships that he's painting.
Gotcha. Well, you
But yeah.
could maybe play that online.
Oh,
Never
and Mark
know.
is here. Hi, Mark.
Hello.
It's you. But yeah,
Yes,
as I
great
say,
work for your 4th mini.
very definitely.
Thanks to everyone who posted in the Facebook group and was part of this week's call for miniatures. If you're ever interested, be sure, if you'd like us to talk about your mini on the show, be sure you keep an eye out for that. Those happen every Wednesday, and they're in our Painting Happy Little Minis Facebook group. So,
Yep.
yes, Josh says, I hope your board game contains Happy Little Minis. And I just was
Indeed.
learning about, there's a board game coming out called Space Station Phoenix by Rio Grande Games,
Okay.
and that has miniatures in it.
Cool.
So it's not a miniatures game, but it has miniatures that you can.
Oh, sounds like a miniatures game to me.
Meaning it's not a miniature war style
Not a miniature war game. Yeah, sure.
war game, but it does have miniatures in it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I
that's fair.
didn't know if it had I hadn't looked a ton into it, so it might have ships or whether it has actual characters.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it depends on the scale, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
It does.
Cool.
So yeah, that should be coming out in a couple months, I think.
Okay.
That's slated for midsummer.
Excellent.
Which should be cool. So what are you trying to work on?
So just quickly, I thought I'd get the shoulder pads done.
Okay.
And when I looked at them, they kind of have the feel of. I suppose I could have done them in a leather kind of look, but decided to go for the big metal plates. But rather than going straight for the gunmetal, which is the color here, decided to mix in a little bit of black and a little bit of brown
Okay.
into it. So by mixing in non-metallic paints into the metallic, it starts to knock back the sort of the sparkle, I guess.
The shimmer.
The shimmer, the metallicness of the thing. So you can see it's got the hiccups now.
The whimsy.
The whimsy of it. No, it's still whimsical. So yeah, I've got that sort of going on there. And what I can do now is give it a quick wash around the around the edges with some charred brown. And so this will settle into those, because it has a ridge around the edge.
Right. Yep.
So you can start to pick that out a little bit there. And because I don't want it to be too bright, because it wouldn't, it wouldn't really make sense for a hunter to rock around in sort of very reflective
Hi, I'm a
armor
hunter.
plating. Yeah.
Here, look at me. The animals are like, we see you from far away.
It's
Gotta run for the night. See you all next week. Thanks, GT, for joining.
by JT.
I'm excited to see more work on your mammoth shaman.
Yep.
Whether he will have magical spell effects somewhere floating around him on the model. Oh, there we go. I see what you're
So
saying.
you're starting to get some of the
Yep.
in there. And then what I can do is, I got that in there. I can come back with a little bit of the gunmetal and then just pick out some of the edges, or some of the higher areas, so the top of the plates, and leave the that brown and the more matte kind of finish. I can leave that for down the sides. And then, we were talking about those bright silvers. Add a little bit of the shining silver, so you can see how much brighter and more reflective that is.
Oh, yeah.
on the thing. So now I
I
can.
do.
So even though I've just said we don't want it to be like super reflective,
Go
We are
back
talk-
and add more.
well, we are talking about it. It's a miniature, so to accentuate the highlights, we'll exaggerate, or to accentuate the depth of the miniature. There are times we'll go in and exaggerate the highlights that you would actually have. So just pick out a few spots around the edge there, where places that would catch as he's sort of running through the forest, knocking against trees and that kind of thing. You get scrapes, and that's where your highest points would show up. You can see there I was just using the side of my brush to catch on the edges of those plates.
I'm always trying to use the edge highlighting.
Yep.
Whether I'm successful or not is up for debate, but that is like the one technique that I'm like,
Yeah.
edge highlighting.
I think the next thing we're going to do is paint his beard.
Okay.
And the beard, I thought I'd go something a little bit brighter, but not, even though I've got putting out some bright orange on my palette here, I won't go completely to that. I'll desaturate by adding in a little bit of the what do you call it? Ivory. See, ivory has a little bit of grey in it, so that will help to knock that back and a bit of desaturated kind of feel. So starting with red leather and a little bit of charred brown. Paint that in here. So the idea here is this will help attract a little bit of attention to that face that is in the cowl there. And I haven't painted the teeth. I said I was going to paint the teeth, so I'll do those now. think for his eyes, I'm just going to use a little bit of charred brown.
Interestingly, my guy has like glowing eyes,
Okay.
But I don't really want to add any more. I don't
Okay.
want to really add any more that I already have
That's all right.
because they work well enough, I believe.
Cool. Yeah, if they already work just fine, there's no sense in trying to change that. So see there. Here, so now I'm just painting on some straight red leather on for the beard, and then I'll mix in a little bit of this orange fire and a little bit of ivory. So you can see how that's lighter than the red leather, but it's not as sort of saturated as the orange fire, sort of the straight orange fire there. So put this on and sort of keep that up on the highlights there, so just below where that bottom lip is. And then just let it stay darker down around the bottom there. Main reason for that is that it's going to be near a lot of these bones. So again, just that nice sort of tonal contrast. In there. Cool. How much time do we have? We have about 20 minutes. Cool.
Yes, it's 4:30.
Yep.
It's 8:43.
8:43. Cool. Mark says some of the best looking metallics incorporate both non-metallic metals and true metallic metals. So yeah, I think that's talking there about mixing in the non-metallic paints into the metallic paints to give you that that additional contrast. Okay, so we'll start with here as well is I'm not going to go through and base coat all of the bones at the moment. I'm going to leave the ones down on his legs. I'm just going to hit all the ones that are up on the shoulders and down the front, just to give it's kind of funny thing, like when I go to put my paintbrush, my paint, my pinky finger ends up sort of resting against the palette.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Palette. And then when I go and bring it up on the model, sometimes my pinky finger will rest on the model.
And so you're getting like a little
bits of water
smudge
around there. So thankfully I haven't smudged any paint yet, but there's certainly the potential for it. So just something to be aware of as you're moving your model around. Some people should say that, I would say that I should have my pinky finger resting on the painting handle, but sometimes you just need to move it around into the right spot.
Dave almost says, just completely zoned out on my minis tonight. Lost the last 30 minutes.
Nice. It is nice when you can do that. Okay. So we can see those starting to sort of stand out against the shoulder pad. The pauldrons, I guess. And then, of course, I'll do my usual sort of bone sort of colours, which is mixing ivory into this beige brown. I think that's one of the things that helps me when I'm sort of trying to sort of zone out when I'm painting and just relax, is having a bunch of sort of paint recipes.
Oh, that then you can pull from?
Yeah, that it's like, oh, these are going to be bone. I don't have to think about anything. I
Right.
can just paint them. Just go through and do it. Because I know what my colour is going to be. So whenever you're able to do that, it just makes things a lot easier. Okay. And of course, as I'm painting this, it's like, oh, that doesn't seem quite as many bones as I thought.
That's good.
He's got another skull. I've added another bird skull on the top here.
He's killed a lot of... He is called the Hunter.
He is, yeah.
For good reason. And unfortunately, he's going to hunt you. Dun, dun, dun. I was like, there was a haunted... Not a haunted. Horror movie that came out.
Okay.
That was like... all these rich people get together and then they like hunt people. And I was like, wow, that's a horrible movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That is terrible. No, I think I saw that.
Terrible.
I think I saw that one.
Oh, for real? You saw
Yeah,
it? Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but it came out a little while ago. And I was like, wow, good stuff.
I was wondering if it might have been in that. You remember that? There's that one October where I watched a
Yes.
horror movie every day.
Yes,
Kind of thing.
I'm sure it was then.
Yeah. Don't know if I actually saw one every day. 'Cause that's a lot of work.
You did watch a lot of horror movies,
I
though.
did.
And I was thoroughly impressed as someone who really cannot stomach them.
Sounds like Riley, you're not into horror movies either.
No, I watch one a day, every single day. October as well.
Riley said I watch one every day
In October.
in October.
Yeah, no, not every day.
I thought you just meant that you watch one every day,
Like
and
every
in
day.
October as well, you also watch one every day.
We got a comment saying that the sound's out of sync, but it all looks fine on our end.
Oh, the sound is out of sync. I would say refresh your page, and then hopefully it will get back in sync.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it over here.
Cool. Okay. Yep. It actually didn't take too long to paint. Paint those bones. So, got that starting there. What time we got? Okay.
I don't know why I'm trying to put more details on this. Like, who's gonna see this?
You are.
I am.
You're going to know.
I'm like, ooh, I could add a little highlight here. Why? Why?
Will it look better?
Maybe.
That's why. There's that opportunity for it to look a little bit better. But of course, if you don't want to, don't do it.
Yeah, I think also I don't mind when things have very contrasted, like not using many layers for highlights.
Right.
I'm realizing.
So when the highlighting is more extreme.
Stark, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Extreme is the right word.
Okay.
Also, I don't mind the wet blending. I'm actually enjoying that.
Cool.
In case anyone is interested.
That's good.
Do you do any like wet blending?
I don't typically do much. Mainly, to be honest, most of the stuff I paint is for armies
Yeah, and it's just
and
kind of impractical
warbands and stuff. Yeah, it's
to use that technique.
yeah, because it's not a technique that works really well for batch painting.
Right.
So yeah, putting down a base coat and then working through a series of highlights is the sort of the essence of batch painting. There will be times when I do try some. I'll sort of mess around with some, so I'll get to a certain point with all of the models, and then I'll go through and do the final two highlight layers with some wet blending, and I'll just do that on a single model, and then I'll put it aside and do the next one. Really depends on the project.
Oh, okay. Yep. That does make sense.
But generally, not too much. And then, of course, when you're like, well, what about the character models? When you get the character models for an army, you could do it there, but then your character models might look a bit too out of place
Okay.
compared to your others.
Right.
It really depends. Really depends. There we go. So they're coming along. Starting to pump out. I probably need to go through and start to darken his feet a little bit. Get that skull. Is that, see that, where is it? There we go, that bird skull under there.
I know we still have a couple minutes, but I'm just going to put mine on the spinner.
Okay. Luna says, I'm done. Done!
Because I'm going to keep working this mini until...
And that's okay. It's okay to just stop.
Until he's overworked, so... Yes.
I'll do a little bit more.
After
of this
painting 10K models, is there any technique you haven't tried or want to try or are unsure about trying?
There probably are things that I haven't done a lot of or haven't done well. But I can't, to be honest, I'm pretty, I know where my level is at.
Right, and you're...
And I'm happy with it because
Yeah.
it allows me to, it helps me get all the minis I want to paint painted.
Right.
Maybe not all of them. I'd like to paint a load more minis, but so yeah, it's kind of an odd one. There was a point we were talking about Adepticon earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a point, I think it was like 2012 or 2013. I keep moving this off camera. Sorry about that. Where I competed in the Crystal Brush
Oh, right, yep.
painting competition, and I thought I'd done a pretty good job on all my entries, and they didn't perform too well in the
Oh, okay,
In the competition?
against... Yeah.
and I was kind of like, okay, I was at a crossroads, which was basically, if I want to perform well in painting competitions, I need to commit to it
Yeah.
and stop doing all the army painting
Right.
and just focus on improving my skills and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And my final decision was, I don't really want it. I don't really care. I'm good with where I'm at. So that was kind of an interesting point where I was able to say, nope, I'm fine. I'll just do things the way I like to do them.
Yeah.
So
And like why you're part of the hobby, and
yeah,
because I think definitely some of it also has to do with like miniature. As the hobby grows, then like it does become more competitive because more people will like hone in that type of
all right, yeah,
skill, like kind of that idea that like you're not just painting for an army, you're going to paint a specific model that's like
Right.
a competition
mini, yeah.
model, and people are working different techniques on those models than they would
Yep.
on just a regular getting your army all painted, which isn't bad. It's just
Just different.
different.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think
And it doesn't really make you a good or bad painter if you win or lose those competitions. It's just like what skills you're developing
Yep.
within the hobby.
like I mentioned, I think I mentioned before that one of my friends is a guy called Chris Borer, who has won 4 Slayer swords
Oh, wow.
over his years. I think he got second place in the open competition at the Golden Demons this year.
Okay, nice.
But so we talk pretty regularly, and it's we're always excited to see each other's work because he'll do some spectacular painting, but he'll paint like 10 models a year,
Right.
and I'll paint like 10 models tomorrow.
Right. And you're like, here's my 1,000 models
Yeah.
I painted.
He'll look at it and he'll go, like, he'll know the things that he would have done differently,
Right.
but he doesn't know how I cut those things, how I was able to cut those things out of my painting to get them done.
Oh, gotcha.
So his brain works very differently to mine when it comes to
Yeah.
painting.
Yeah.
But we can both appreciate each other's work, which is a good thing.
All right,
So-
let's look at the miniature spinner.
Sorry, I'm just gonna quickly.
Dave can finish up his. So I did, what's it called? Dull back the tabard, the green on the tabard.
Okay.
It's a little bit different. It's a little bit darker. His whole like bottom half is much darker.
Right.
Maybe I pushed it.